Hey Paisanos, it's Pandemic Dragon here. Verho Curse of Faces is a first-person average London walk simulator where you play as the local V for Vendetta cosplayer that bears a visage of no veneer of vanity, but is a vestige of Vox Populi, now vacant, vanished because of the hellscape that is living in the world of Verho. You are an individual who lives in the era of masks, an era that has been plagued by centuries of social distancing and the decay of communication skills. The only way to negate the crippling social anxiety in this world is to wear special designated masks and to absolutely never drop the mask lest you wish to spontaneously combust because of the curse of faces. 600 years ago in the world of Verho, the world had a sudden and drastic case of the ugly barnacle syndrome, wherein everyone was so ugly that in a few hours, almost everyone died, which would have been the end of humanity. But the indomitable human spirit pressed on for 300 years, marking the era of social distancing, where no two individuals could ever meet one another unless they wished for sudden intracranial hemorrhaging, until one day, the ugliest barnacle discovered that gazing upon one's ugliness was the cause of spontaneous human cranial combustion. And as such, the maker crafted special masks that displayed your profession, much like a zodiac sign for a quirky astrology fan to immediately dismiss compatibility because Mercury is in retrograde. The origins of the ugly barnacle curse was traced to the small nation called Yariv, which is surrounded by mountain ranges, allowing the locals there to create the world's largest collaborative hotbox. Since then, all manner of individuals dove into Yariv for various reasons. Thieves to loot goblin everything they see, scholars to understand the tale of the ugly barnacle, inquisitors to purge any heretics they see, and many more. But in famous folklore fashion, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. You, being an individual who loves making a series of excellent choices and lacks any sort of self-preservation skills, choose to enter the ominous hotbox nation of Yariv for whatever reason. A bold strategy in which nothing can go wrong. Immediately, it goes wrong, and the hotbox is too much for you to handle because you're a lightweight. Take note, as this definitely won't be a defining character trait for your character. You awaken on the cold, hard, stony floor, with the sky just as grey as a Sunday London morning, and the flora as spooky as a walk through the Teutoburg forest, and you just started hearing the trees speak Germanic. Compelled by a mysterious voice to walk forward and remember your name, I gave our brave hero the name Init Bruv, because I don't remember our name, but I do remember the most common speech that one would hear on the mean streets of London. We then approach the Shrine of Masks to remember who we were, to which then you will choose from an assortment of personality traits such as the Scholar,
you've been a naughty girl.
the Sorcerer, the Thief, the Knight, the Brawler, the Inquisitor, and the Forgotten. After completing your online personality quiz and beating your sleep paralysis demon until they allow you to leave your dream, you awaken to find yourself trapped in Yariv and with no way but to move forward into the Rotten Valley, where we meet the local Peaky Blinders. Good day to you, sir. It seems I've been trapped by some rocks. Perhaps you could point me to the exit.
You're probably not very bright if you came here willingly.
That is uncalled for, sir, but I'll let it slide. We are then sent on an errand by the half-a-man rogue to let someone called Loran know that the entrance has collapsed. And I see no reason to doubt the one-armed man. After all, he's got one arm, and we don't disparage the less able-bodied. Oh, and before you set off, praise be the maker. We make our way through the Rotten Valley, towards the lake that's filled with more chemicals than the Yamuna River, and along the way, encountering all manner of creatures that wish to sacrifice themselves to your experience bar. Creatures such as beetle larvae that only half finished their metamorphosis, bats that are consumed with the rage virus and bonsai charge you to infect you with rabies, and these one-eyed freaks that stare at you rudely, spit on you, or explode in your face if you get too close. Combat in Verho follows a very simple set of rules. Wackily flailing your arms is a sure way to do no damage, so to actually hit something like you really mean for it to die, charge up all the way or release as soon as the charge is full to perform a critical hit. This is the core of combat in Verho. Proper timing and proper strategy. There's no faster way to die in Verho than panic slapping your enemy and forgetting to use your items. After decimating the local fauna, we reach Loran, a seemingly friendly fellow who tells us we just got pranked by Namir the one-armed man, as everyone gets trapped here by boulders, and trying to leave means you get struck with divine retribution. a harmless prank that we let slide as he's only half a man. Loran tells us to head to the Nameless Village to stock up on supplies and to absolutely not go in the caverns. Praise be the maker. While on our way back to Namir to let him know that we fell for his YouTube prank, we encountered this little guy here. He's just a little fellow who is absolutely not up to no good. I mean, he gives us solid advice, like don't go into the caves without a torch, and if you die, your goods are forfeit. Solid advice from a fellow who seems to have your best interest in mind. We can absolutely trust him. First stop, the Nameless Village. There are plenty of NPCs here to interact with, such as Old Mask Man, Chris Angel Mask Man, Merchant Mask Man, Knight Mask Man, Big Smithing Snake Man, and my favorite, the Inquisitor Mask Man.
Hello, fellow Mask Man. Praise be the maker. I can't enter the local church to find evidence of the Order of Masks being heretics, so that we may purge the unclean. You wouldn't happen to have any rare obsidian root that we could complete the spell with so we may enter the church? Well, if you come across any, bring them to me so that we can praise the maker together.
There are two ways to enter the forest. One is through the village, where any normal, rational human being would go through, while the other is through the Karath ruins, back in the Rotten Valley, where you'll encounter absolute nightmare-fueled flora and realize that coming to Yariv may have been a mistake. These big flower guys hit hard and look like they could bore you like eating cereal, but they still fall like any creature, and with enough London shankings, any creature will keel over and die. Make sure you check your surroundings and praise be the maker. From here, we can either make our way through the Morning Forest to find the obsidian root for our mentally stable Inquisitor friend, or delve deeper into Karath to find an ancient civilization here with even more massive nightmare-fueled flora, all to loot whatever remains here. Oh hey, a tablet from an ancient civilization that's glowing. Surely this is not an object for a megalomaniac to desire, right? Hello there, absolutely mentally stable reptilian mask man. You seem like an individual who would benefit the most from this tablet.
Yes, finally!
In exchange, he gave us a spell to defeat an immortal being at the top of the hill. See? This is absolutely an excellent choice with no unforeseeable consequences. And so, with the spell of light, the way is clear. The path is lit. The way forward is down this hole to collect a ring. We didn't think this through. Believe in the power of the mask and bring us back. Praise be the maker. So once again, before we let our loot goblin senses take over, the way is clear. The path is lit. The way forward is up this hill. And before us lies the obviously not a boss arena. And here we find the great ghostly warrior in his Thunderdome, Ovarius, the last Archguard. Ovarius is the juiced-up synthol-injecting roid rager who has spent all of his disposable income on a full suit of steel armor, and then goes to the local Renaissance fair with his custom-made Axe body spray flamethrower. He's big, he's bad, and he's definitely not opposed to using war crimes, judging by his love of fire. He's got an assortment of war crimes at his disposal, such as napalm spraying sword attack, full-power nuclear explosion, butterfly wings, hidden ground napalm jutsu, and unlimited blade works. While he's a step above all the rest of the fodder you've been facing, he's no match for you and rage quits after being bested by the local Londoner who does liver shankings as a hobby. And as a reward for liberating his mortal shell from this world, we are rewarded with a magic blade on top of another hill. That's pretty solid to use. Just remember, in Verho, violence is a way to obtain better things. And of course, taking that mantra to go, we storm the prison to find his lackeys still working their shifts even after their demises, a workplace productivity that Megacorps could only dream of. And after putting down some spectral guardsmen, freeing this dwarf who eats things and quite literally shits gold, and going through the Indiana Jones level traps, we find what Ovarius was truly protecting. Oh boy, this rune looks pretty neat. Yoink. What's this note here?
Ye who come across this rune, don't take it. It's the only thing holding back the demons and keeping our world alive. Please don't take it. And please don't totally use it to unseal the barrier at Western Yariv. Thank you. P.S. I totally committed war crimes against my guardsmen by turning them into ghosts after death.
Wow, I wasn't far off with my war crimes assessment. Pretty toxic workplace if I do say so myself. This rune is pretty important, but I mean, finders keepers after all. So we head back to the village, rune in hand and obsidian root to boot, and visit our Inquisitor friend to give him the good kush.
Hello, fellow Mask Man. Praise be the maker. You have returned with a good kush, so now we may praise the Maker. Now step back and let me cook. Alrighty now, friend. Please be on your way, and if we meet again, praise be the Maker.
And this is a grand temple indeed. Praise be the Maker. But it looks like some sacrilegious things have occurred here in this temple. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's almost as if something here is wrong. Like this man lying lazily by the altar, this man bleeding all over the scripture room, and this pentagram that was graffitied in the priest room. These men are not praise being the Maker. But you know who is praise being the Maker? Our Inquisitor friend here.
Hello again, fellow masked man. Don't mind me. Just looking through the scriptures here to find more heretics in the Order. It's quite fascinating how much heresy a corrupt organization can get away with. I will be here for quite a while, so you go on ahead. And remember, praise the Maker.
Indeed, praise the Maker. In the basement of the church, we find the man who led the expedition to their untimely demise. It's a scholar who seems to have bit off a bit more than he could chew. So we give him a mask shard so he can return home to the nameless village and continue further into the basement to find these massive tentacle creatures and this massive portal that we should absolutely leave alone for the time being. And I finally discovered what's wrong with the church. It turns out the clergy here have been pouring oil and fat down the drain, resulting in this massive fatberg clogging the pipes beneath the church. Remember, never pour grease down the pipes and dispose of it properly after use. And after clearing out the fatberg and checking if their disposal system is working, it seems the piping in the main hall has started to work. And where there's sounds of things working, more investigation needs to be done to ensure that everything is in order. After all those people lying around, bleeding on the floor, surely has messed with the church's plumbing. So let's see where this new chamber leads to. Oh my, this place seems a bit off. Praise the Maker. The Gracious Pit. Interesting. Oh look, it's our friend, the guy who told us about the caves. And looks like he has lore to tell us about. The Gracious Pit turns out to be this place called the Heretical Path, a place where the condemned can go through the American Ninja Warrior Gauntlet. It's said that if a condemned works their way through the gauntlet, they'll arrive at salvation, absolving them of their crime. Our friendly neighborhood Red Mask Man points out that we're being watched over yonder. Take a look for yourself, my friend. It seems we couldn't absolutely trust him. After pulling a Giga Chad Nat 20 acrobatics check and surviving the ambush down in the pit, we get lured in with the oldest trick in the book. We come across, quite literally, an Iron Maiden. Salutations. I don't know where we are, but please do not panic. It seems my presence has worsened the situation.
Why do you linger still? Are you not disgusted by what I am?
Nah, we're good. I've seen worse.
Thank you, masked one.
After being a support Tomodachi for the Iron Maiden, we part ways to find a way out of this pit. And what do you know? Once again, it's the Maker that comes to our rescue. Praise be. Back to where we were before we were tricked, backstabbed, and quite possibly bamboozled, we have no choice but to continue forth on our quest to do whatever we were meant to do in Yariv. It's quite the long fall down, so you have to keep your balance, carefully break your legs, and introduce these filthy troglodytes to the power of human ingenuity. But further down, you'll learn the true meaning of fear, as you unexpectedly try to loot these Iron Maidens, not expecting foul creatures. Then, as you run hastily back behind this wall in your panic, you'll realize that not even wall collisions can save you from absolute nightmare fuel maidens. Welcome to PTSD Incarnate. I don't think I want to be here anymore. Thank the Maker there's a statue here. Only, the stress train doesn't stop here. Welcome back to the Indiana Jones trap, where traps are untouched damage, meaning touching it gives you a bad case of tetanus and death. Oof, I feel you, buddy. That gauntlet was something else, huh? But after being harassed by pulsating pustules, lovers, pox, maidens waiting for you in your area, and the spikes that pull so hard they rip the skin, we finally reach the fresh air of outside. And look there, it's our Inquisitor friend once more.
Greetings, my friend. It seems our journey has led us to this barrier that seems to be blocking entry or exit. It's almost like it wants no one to pass this point. The ancient texts say the symbols came from a great wall consumed by earth and bound by oath. Man, these heretics love spouting heresy.
What does this button do?
My friend, you have broken the barrier. Great job. Now we can push forward and purge. Praise the maker.
Walking in, we find ourselves trapped by this fucking thing, and Buddy is nowhere to be found. Definitely didn't have impromptu boss fight on my bingo card, but I should have expected no less from the ominous room. Thanks for the help, my guy. After the One-Eyed Temple, we find a swamp village that seems like it's definitely not up to code with OSHA regulations. I mean, lizards of that size would definitely be a hazard to the structural supports. And exploring around, we come across Loran just hanging around in the village, taking in the sights and living in the moment, just out here looking for his brother Paran. And we also come across the local Witches vs. Patriarchy Shungai dealer, who guesses that we may or may not have broken the seal that has been keeping all the demons and monsters at bay in Western Yariv. I'm just saying, I have no recollection of the events in question. She then says she's lonely and wishes for
Entertainment.
that entertainment, beating the rival Funko Pop antiquarian named the Collector. Well, so far, I've seen no reason not to suddenly help a stranger in need. That Collector is as good as dead. To the Collector's Grove we go, where we encounter these annoying four-legged mosquitoes that seem to be the bane of all melee builds. It's not that they are difficult, it's just that they have a kit that seems to absolutely rip apart anyone who wants to come within touchy-feely range. So, I do the most sensible thing against pests of any kind. Show them what it means to have our evolution spec'd into intelligence. And here we stand before the Collector. This pudgy boy is a floating mass of bark and lard, fueled by the power of sweet and sour chicken with how much red gas he's shitting out of him. He's quite simple to fight. If you've ever fought a zoner in any fighting game, you'll know there's two main ways to fight zoners. Either close the distance to beat the piss out of them, or just outzone them. In my case, I just felt like since the crossbow was doing so well on his minions, I might as well continue the trend. And what we have here is a home invasion homicide with a deadly weapon. We walk into a guy's house, shoot the guy and his pets, and rob his Shungite because our local Shungite healer waifu told us to do so. And because of that, she lets us know that we are something special after all. We may be the savior of the new era, or the end of the world as we know it. High praises for someone who shot a local Beanie Babies collector and just stumbled their way into Western Yariv by loot goblining everything on their way here. In it, bruv, takes some time to follow the glowing lights like a mosquito seeing an electric lamp, and we come across a valley. I don't think whatever lives here really wants us around. With that roar, we take some time to head back to the village, realizing that we need to triple the defense budget. With our crossbow locked and loaded, we can now change our build from the local London man that slices and dices to the local Genoese man armed with a crossbow. And I think it was a good thing the defense budget was tripled, because this doesn't look like your typical mine. I can't quite put my finger on it, nor does it look like I would want to. Interrupting that thought, however, it seems that we're being watched by a creature that I can only describe as socially awkward, biblically accurate seraphim. It's a bit nerve-wracking just walking out here and seeing this big-ass creature just staring at you. It feels like I'm an ant going about my day, and this giant with a magnifying glass is just staring at me, watching my every movement. And look who we have here. It's the guy we thought we could absolutely trust. And he's offering us a reward for saving him. And he's totally not like bloodthirsty all the time. Well, it looks like we can give him a potion to mend his wounds. I mean, besides the little oopsie daisy I've lightly stabbed you, he seems like a pretty cool guy. We can absolutely trust him. Continuing on to the crest of the mountain, we get harassed by the awkward floating giant eyeball for being in his domain. Now in terms of castle doctrine, yes, he's absolutely correct that I am indeed trespassing. But now that he's shot at me, it's personal now. Making it up to the peak, we now square off with the floating creature, an angel. And, oh boy, I've always wanted to kill a mythic being. The angel goes full castle doctrine on us by summoning the gales of winter and then carpet bombing us with divine retribution for our transgressions until the angel finishes their load and goes into a refractory period. And our response? How about you taste a bit of human engineering? As the fight becomes more fierce, the angel starts summoning literal biblically accurate shit straight out of Revelations, summoning visages of itself with loud blaring horns and exploding blood on impact. That's metal as fuck. but the indomitable human spirit pulls through. We continue loading the angel with bolts during each of their refractory periods until the final shot, where they climax in ecstasy, allowing us to collect the last juices of the angel. In summary, we trespass onto the angel's land, forcibly enter their home, shoot all of their residents, steal their belongings, and then murder the angel for trying to defend themselves, all to take a piece of their body to be forged into a blade so that we could use it for more murdering. All I have to say, Your Honor, is that I have no recollection of the events in question. At this point, I had a bit of skill points left over, so I went to praise the maker and transform my thinly acrobatic body into a more Giga Chad beefcake so that I can handle the new crossbow I picked up from the home of the angel, introducing the runic crossbow, or what I refer to as gun. The runic crossbow is a crossbow that was modified by alchemists so that the bolts are imbued with fire. Call it magic or enchantment or whatever you alchemists want to call it. I shall refer to it as gun, just as the maker intended. So my build once again transitions from a Genoese crossbowman back to the British redcoat, and confident with my new gun. I bought discount bolts from the happy red mask man who we can absolutely trust and set off towards the capital of Yariv by passing through the Giant's Pass and shooting our tour guides when they ask for a tip. Here the capital is, and it's looking rough out here. There looks to be many of people who have suffered from the ugly barnacle curse. While wandering the capital, I get assaulted by a spooky scary laughter, and it actually plays some godforsaken tricks on me, like looking at me, then flying away, and then killing me instantly, which puts me into absolute schizo mode as I am now convinced that anybody could wake up and try to kill me, which results in me going around town mercilessly desecrating the dead. Oh hey, it's our boy Loran, and he's standing beside another Loran. Oh dear, it's his brother Paran. Oh, he's trauma dumping. And he gives us his spear because he stole it from his brother before his brother left on his journey? Oh, that's rough, buddy. But I'm suffering from a manic episode of corpses coming back to kill me. So I'm just gonna make sure your brother's body is safe. Thanks for the spear though, my guy. Afterwards, we head deeper into the city and find the source of the body that killed me. It turns out it's a corpse impaled in a spike that's an actual enemy. So all along, my psychopathic dismembering of bodies, including Loran's brother, was actually just me schizo tweaking. Again, sorry my man, it was just a precaution. Traveling further into the capital, the doom and gloom must have hit everyone because we become the trauma-dumping support Tomodachi for everyone. The half-a-man laments how he was once infamous as a thief, but now nobody recognizes him. The half-a-demon laments how his existence is pain, and how triple flipping his head into this hole is badass and the solution to all his problems. The half-an-inquisitor laments how much heresy is within his order, and how he would like to return home to purge the heretics for sending his father here to Yariv to die. Even our completely and mentally stable half-a-reptilian mask man has a bit of a hissy fit about how everything he uses as a test subject just dies before he can finish testing, taking his absolute crash out on us and learning the meaning of fuck around and find out. But for us, we are on a quest, and we press forward to the underground maskless village, a place where I can only describe as celibacy meets depression, inside of a totally not gooner cave. These burlap sack wearing anti-gooners hang out in the village, lamenting their fates as they are unable to leave due to being cursed with the divine retribution for even attempting to touch grass. And as such, they have devoted themselves to no nut never ending to ensure no future descendants have to bear the curse that they have. And while pushing forward to discover the secrets of Yariv, we get ambushed by someone who steals our mask and tells us, don't look back.
If you turn to face me, we'll both die.
Well, at least we know the Curse of Faces is an actual gameplay thing. Our captor tells us that we have no choice but to push forward and find a hero that went to seal a demonic portal, but disappeared in the caves, or otherwise, we have to remain maskless for the rest of our days. Joke's on him because our bloodthirsty psychopathic doomslayer would have pushed forward regardless because blood and loot is quite literally what fuels their ambition. So we push forward, literally killing all the poor cave-dwelling creatures trying to defend their home, including the mother of all the creatures, and this giant fly that's just trying to do its job. And at the end of the cave, we enter the fortress and accidentally awaken a fellow with an RGB sword, and he is rightfully pissed that his slumber has ended. So pissed that we begin a duel. No words, no yelling, just him and you in a duel to the death. Malachor, the Fallen Inquisitor, is the aura farming Inquisitor who loves to throw powerful moves to show how much aura he has. He'll stand there and fire his projectiles, all while striking power poses to show you just how outmatched you are. But that is his first mistake. Aura farming when you just woke up results in him getting mollywopped and pulling the Soulsborne classic of Phase 2, the first time in this game, which caught me a bit by surprise. He switches his moveset to now include a second sword, pulled straight from the maw of the demon portal for even harder aura farming, a second shockwave, and a pose with every attack, and harder poses when he fires his projectiles. But he still fails to realize one simple thing. You can't aura farm when your opponent is literally running circles around you and just bonking you to death in the most uncool way. And that was his folly. Malachor realizes his aura farming was his downfall. And what do you know? The Mask Thief is back and tells us not to turn around. And I'll be honest, if I could, I would. Thank the game for taking away my freedom of choice. Our captor tells us that the hero did succeed in sealing the portal, but became that corrupted beast afterwards, going into a hard depression with the "please murder me for my mistake." And Gomenasai, I caused the death of the village. Like I said, everyone out here just has doom and gloom, and if I'm being honest, dying is the easy way out, so nah, you live with it, my man. With only one place left in the castle, we head to the nobility sector and proceed into the king's castle, a fortress that is filled with darkness and the maker statue with an absolute cake to boot. Praise be the maker. The castle is filled to the brink with knights forced to battle against their will, and a foe so powerful that they defeated our Paisanos, the one-armed bandit, and our Giga Chad Inquisitor friend. And that fearsome foe? It's the Puppet King of Yariv. With an aggressive Leroy Jenkins leap and a spin to win as a declaration of battle, the Puppet King faces off against us for the soul of Yariv. The Puppet King is an aggressive royal with a bold personality, which is code for a bitch. The Puppet King, when threatened, will summon his puppet subjects to try and win the battle for him. But, as with all summoners, the best way to beat the summons is to beat the piss out of the summoner. The king is dead. Long live the king. And now, time for a many questions with no answers. The old mysterious man who seems mystical and wise beyond his years tells you the only way to break the curse is to use the anchor ripped straight out of the Puppet King and acquire 3 archdemons' hearts ripped straight from the demons in their homes. How does he know all this information? Well, don't you worry about that. Just do whatever he says and he'll tell us everything afterwards. Pinky promise. I'm not sure we can absolutely trust him, but for the time being, we have no reason to say no and blindly follow his instructions. So we do the same thing we've always done. We do a little bit of home invasion and homicide with deadly weapons. And we have the anchor in hand, so we can enlist the assistance of allies to go straight with us to the demon world to beat the shit out of all the demons.
Greetings, my friend. How fare thee in the demon world? What's this? You require my assistance to purge these foul beasts? So what you're saying is that there's some heresy detected, and that we get to burn the heretics, and kill the mutants, and purge the unclean? Say no more, my friend. I am in.
And so the both of us go on a wild adventure in the realm of might to dive deep into the demon's home and beat the living shit out of everything here, including this massive tentacled creature hell-bent on turning my screen into a massive purple rave party, all so we can rip its heart out for our own personal use. And I also give our boy some closure about his dad, because I didn't realize that Malachor was his dad.
Thank you, my friend, for letting me know my father died a hero. Shame that the Order sent him here. So I guess that when this is all over, I'm going to have to purge all the heretics back home. Not for heresy, but because it's personal now.
No problem, my man. Good luck with all that. And next, we head to the realm of past to relive all of our past killings, to feel all the guilt as you see how many you mercilessly slaughtered and how much destruction you have caused to Yariv. Oh, and Loran is here, and I guess he's mad that he died? And I don't know what the heck happened to him at all. But after the battle with his rage-fueled Spectre, he asks for mercy, and I just kinda whoopsie-daisy killed him because I didn't realize if there was a choice at all. Ah well, on to the next. And lastly, we go to where our Espresso Depresso half a demon triple flip nosedived into the hole, and decide, man, that was a sick jump, let me follow suit. And into the realm of shattering we arrive, where we have to traverse through portals of all sorts to deactivate barriers so we can rip the archdemon's heart out. Oh, and the half a demon isn't quite dead yet. Quite literally, half a demon man is too depressed to die, but you are special, he says. And he asks you to let him help you in the battle against the archdemon, and then as payment, you must end him permanently. Well, I can't pass up on a good deal, so. And we, above all the bloodlust, psychopathy, and loot goblining, are someone who keeps promises. Thank you, my Espresso Depresso man. You've earned your rest. With the 3 archdemons' hearts stolen fresh from their chests, the old mystical man reveals himself to be the Archmage Verho. You know, the guy who caused all the world to suffer 600 years ago. The guy who was responsible for the Curse of Faces. The guy who is definitely not repairing his rep by being all mysterious and stuff. Verho wishes to make the world whole again by killing the archdemon named Celibate that he summoned 600 years ago. But there's something he mysteriously withholds from you until you agree to begin the ritual. Only by lobotomizing yourself and allowing another man inside of you can you finish off the archdemon. And that man that's going to be inside of you? That man is the spirit of Verho. Verho, my man, you are really not helping your case here. I almost feel like the correct choice is to not trust the mysterious mage who only tells you shit when there's absolutely no other choice. But us being a psychopath with no self-preservation skills and is known for making excellent choices, we absolutely trust the mage who was responsible for Calamity 600 years ago and tell him, get the ice pick ready because there isn't much in our skull to begin with. And now we are completely different. We now have another man inside of us, ready to finish off the archdemon and end the curse of the ugly barnacle. The realm of fear is long and winding, with enemies that are absolute beefcakes, but none are able to stand against you and the one-armed rogue if you convince him to help you beforehand. And here we are, at the portal leading to Celibate, the archdemon of fear. He tries to play some tricks on you, like having us repeat our dream and facing an enemy that is us. But an error on his part is assuming we would be afraid to kill ourselves. We have already gotten a lobotomy, so there's not much thinking to begin with. So Celibate, feeling fear, shows his true form, but he isn't done fearing us yet. His weakness is fire, so we use the remaining defense budget and purchase the largest supply of Greek Fire Special, and show him that the power of fear is no match for the power of friendship and gun. Feeling true fear, Celibate transforms into a beast that any normal, rational person would quake in their boots. But again, he assumed we can feel anything inside of our head, and unfortunately for him, we lost that part of our brain hours ago. And so, with Verho inside of us, and armed with a ridiculous amount of handheld napalm grenades, we show him the power of God and anime. We hit him with the Divine Might Special, and throw a ton of firebombs at his face, allowing him to feel a simulation of what it feels like to be covered in white phosphorus, allowing us to slay the archdemon, and break the Curse of Faces, once and for all. With everyone's happy ending, we cut back to Inetbruv, now a soulless husk thanks to the impromptu ice pick surgery. He is the savior of the world, yet was unable to save himself. With one final act of his own accord, he watches the sunrise on a grateful kingdom, and then does a sick triple backflip off the highest point of the castle. If it isn't 100% clear, I absolutely love Verho. It's a game that has so much love and care poured into it by its dev team that really wants it to be a dark RPG inspired by Kingsfield, Lunacid, and Soulsborne, but also wants to carve its own identity with its own systems. Combat may seem very simplistic at first, with your avenues of attack being charge to do max damage and dodge out of the way to avoid damage, but it has a ton more depth than just that. There's a lot of different damage types and strategies to deal with various enemies. For example, going as a thief, my options were usually to stab things and avoid getting hit because of my low health pool. But on my other playthrough, I chose to be more of a melee spell sword, utilizing shields to negate percent damage and hitting enemies with powerful magic attacks. And also, you can greatly benefit from using temporary enchantment items or switching out weapons. A lot of weapons in Verho have different feelings to them. Spears and rapiers have a dash forward attack that takes a bit of getting used to, but once you do get used to it, you can absolutely mow enemies down by charging your attack from afar, thrusting in and then diving out of range before they can even hit you. I will talk about pet peeves with the combat later, but for the most part, I really like the methodical choice of choosing the right tools for the job. You aren't necessarily punished for using your regular weapon, but you are rewarded for learning the enemy's weaknesses and exploiting them with that type of weapon. And also for the leveling system, I really do like that they went with the Soulsborne style of leveling, where you can choose your stat block in the beginning, but you're not locked in any way with your leveling path. I started off with a thief as a dex build, but by the end, I turned into an acrobatic himbo who was dumb as bricks, but hit like a truck with any weapon. The atmosphere of Verho is absolutely amazing. The levels and mood generally give me the vibes of being here in this land is wrong, and you should have never stepped into Yariv. Like, I need to push forward to save the world, but so many things in Yariv scream, you should not be here. Caves are extremely dark, to the point where you're unable to see anything past your hands, requiring you to sacrifice your offhand to carry a torch or use some mana to cast a light spell. I absolutely love the fact that you have to legitimately have a light source to see in places that bear either very little light or no light at all. The heretical path when I first entered was this hard whiplash of, oh damn, this is somewhere I should not be. This is somewhere that is not meant for regular people. It just put me on edge as I went further down the gauntlet, not knowing what to expect, and just seeing the eerie atmosphere and set piece. And adding on to that, the lower Yariv graveyards just gave me the feeling of danger as I walked by bone titans or grave hands that literally yell and explode if you walk over them. Like, Light and Hope has abandoned this place long ago, and here, life is the anomaly that needs to be snuffed out. And I love that enemies and creatures are just so damn ominous. One thing Verho does very well is show you the danger up front. For example, the Predator is one of the first optional bosses you can fight. Everyone tells you it's a horde creature and you should absolutely avoid it. Walking into the cave where the Predator is, you can just see him fade in, staring at you malevolently. And I literally had to take a second to process that this thing is watching me, waiting for me. And you are now fully aware that this thing knows you know it's watching you. And the same situation with the Angel. You can hear them upon first entry, but you don't actually see the Angel until they're just staring at you inquisitively. You now know that they are looking at you, and you can't help but wonder, how long have they been watching you? Have they been watching you since you first entered the valley? Or did they just start watching you now? Either way, every time you see the Angel, you have to wonder if they are going to attack you or just continue observing you. The story in Verho is enjoyable, and I do really like the voice acting. I know some people in the Steam forums were complaining that they were taken out of the story because they didn't like the voice acting, but personally I didn't mind it at all, and I like the diversity of the cast. It is a bit jarring to hear this large snake smith spout a little tiny human voice, but personally it didn't bother me after the first initial hearing. But I think the more main characters like Namir, Loran, and Bellicor have great voice acting that just make me want to sit down with them by the fire and hear more about their stories. And I also really enjoyed learning about the world through broken stories that people heard 300 years ago and passed down. And also being rewarded if you go the extra mile to find arcane tablets that eventually unlock a completely optional lore area that pretty much gives you a huge lore explanation about Yariv, the past eras, and how humanity survived the Curse of Faces. Now I do have some gripes with the game, but they are mostly nitpicking and aren't any major deterrents to the game. The hit detection can be a bit jank in the game, especially when it comes to flying enemies and traps. Charging into enemies with the rapier or spear can cause you to touch the enemy if you misjudge the distance, which causes you to take a free hit despite not being in an animation. This can be especially annoying with flying enemies. Secondly, enemies do not have any wall collisions and are always aggroed when you come into range. I understand the decision to code enemies this way, as coding collisions and pathing for enemies can be tough and also have its own set of problems. But it is jarring, especially with flying enemies when they phase through walls to charge you or shoot projectiles at you from inside the walls. I really wish we had a journal of sorts to keep us up with the lore we learn and the characters we meet, or at least have a nameplate for characters that have introduced themselves. It was kinda tough for me to remember who is who when you have 3 people named Loran, Paran, and Zaran, or Bellicor, whose father is Malachor. I really like the characters, but it was an awkward moment of knowing someone for a couple of months, but you just don't remember their name and don't want to ask them for it after hanging out a bunch of times. I literally missed that Melicor was Bellicor's father. It's not that I didn't know Bellicor's dad was here in Yariv, it's just that I missed his name during one of our conversations and it never came up again. So when I revealed to Bellicor that his father died at the portal, I realized, oh, I killed your dad. My bad. I wish that the journal could give us some insights to the choices we have made or keep us up to date with what we've done. For example, I believe there's an achievement for sparing Loran, but I literally don't know when that could have occurred. Was it sometime after he found his brother in the capital? Or was it after the fight with his specter in the realm of past? That's not to say I would like a Skyrim quest log that tells you everything like you're a 5-year-old child. Just I would like a way to reference or remember who was who and what has happened thus far, as a lot of lore gets told to you at some points and you can easily miss some context if you're not paying attention. Overall though, Verho Curse of Faces is an absolutely wonderful game made by a passionate dev team. Its world just oozes with wanting to tell you its story, but only if you're willing to listen and also search for the answers and the truth. The dev has said there are multiple endings, and I'm not going to spoil the other endings because you should absolutely play the game for yourself and experience the lore and characters of the world. That's it for this video on Verho Curse of Faces. I want to thank CobraTekku Games for sending me an early access copy to let me play the game before release, and I really do think you should give this game a try. I do hope you very much enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching. As always, more to come in the upcoming weeks. Take care for now, Paisanos.